And we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. And good
Hey
afternoon,
Ranier,
Eric.
how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Really excited for the upcoming webinar. So, no, I'm doing great to be honest. Already having a good day. So that's nice. And you?
Yeah, very well. So I think we kind of had a wrong scheduling for scheduling the webinar. So we had several requests from New Zealand and Australia, and I think the
Yeah,
current time zone makes it a bit harder. So for the Netherlands, I think we had 80 something signups, so that's going better. So let's see how we end up today for the first English one, and then maybe
exactly,
you can reschedule. That's a one for the different time zones as well, because if the time zone is just not enough in our favor, that's just very difficult.
exactly. And that's why it's so nice that we can record these webinars, so we can always share them afterwards. So
100%. But I like the live questions, Ranier. So the live questions
it,
always make
it
it even
is.
better.
It is. The webinar is the best if it's just a live webinar. So I
Right.
totally agree.
Okay.
Mm. I think it's good if we wait maybe one more minute and then we just kick off. Sounds that like a plan? Does that
Yeah,
sound like a plan?
that's to me.
Perfect, perfect. I see there's already Thomas already joined. Good to see.
Let's just get started, Ranier, and then we can share the recording with everyone that signed
Let's do
up and
that.
haven't attended yet.
Let's do that. Let's do that. All right. Yeah. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. So today we will talk you through the communication simplified most of the time. So we really talk about how you can really simplify your internet and communication. So that's something we'll talk you through today via Workspace. So I think we have an agenda coming up for today. So first start with a quick introduction, letting everyone know who we are. Then we'll tell you everything about the internal communication, everything that changing challenges and stuff like that. Then we'll give you a quick demo about how the internet looks like right now, and then we'll also share some next steps. So yeah, I'm really curious for today. So me and Eric will do the webinar today. Let's introduce ourselves first. I will start. So I'm Reinier Bakker. I'm a sales development within Workspace 365 for already a couple of years. And what I normally do is having the conversation with a lot of our customers or potential customers, really getting to understand what their challenges are, what their needs are, and if Workspace is a potential fit for that. So I know a lot about the different kind of markets. So the three different sectors that we are in active the most. So and these webinar I do mostly with Eric together. There's also some practical information. So what I just said, the webinar will be recorded. It will also be shared with you afterwards. And we really appreciate it if you guys can send up some questions in between the story that we tell. So yeah, that's it about me. Eric.
Good introduction, Ranier. So yeah, my name is Eric. I'm one of the two co-founders of the company Workspace 55, which we started around 15 years in the Netherlands. So welcome is the Dutch version of welcome in English, or welcome in Norwegian, or the different countries where you may come from today. So originally Dutch company. I'm Dutch, and within our company today, if you look at where we are, you see that we really kind of help customers across the globe. So we have a wide partner network in different countries. Our biggest country is still the Netherlands, but you see that through our partners and through our different offices in Europe, you see that really kind of expanding towards the different countries. Also, kind of hence the time zones, right? So you see that Australia and New Zealand are sometimes a bit more challenging to reach with webinars like this. But good that we can share recordings and we can share everything afterwards. But yeah, so Versity 5 software company really focus on simplification. So how can we simplify digital work? How can we help our customers to really simplify everything around the employee experience? And that's also about today, right? So we see many of our customers, they started with IT simplification. And really the next step is how can we kind of take the next step on communication? How can we embrace communication as an internet within Workspace 5? We also want to share some perspectives about where our product is evolving towards and how AI and all the intelligence, what we see nowadays, is really tapping into the potential of a platform like Workspace 5. Yeah, my main question is for yourself, right? So to answer for yourself, you can put it into the chat, but I do think it's sometimes good to start with a question in mind. So what is the question I would like to get answered today? Because if you have it in mind, hey, this is something I'm working on either as feedback from the people who use Workspace, feedback from yourself, thinking about technology answering, hey, where's the platform going? So feel free to kind of get this in your mind, either as a direction or as a question, and just focus on the validation of those questions, right? If you think, hey, this is my question, hopefully during the webinar, we answer your questions. And if any, we can answer them at the end as well. So very transparent from my side, right? So if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to put them in the chat. Reinier will filter the questions. If relevant, based on the slide, I'll try to incorporate them. If you think it's better to wait for those questions at the end, Reinier will hold them back towards the end. So for me, it's a dynamic. I'm happy to be interrupted by any question. So it's no auto queue. So there's just a free flow from that perspective. I just want to make a better story for everyone. Yeah, so I do think it's important to start with the thing we want to do every single day, right? So as a company, we have a very simple purpose, and it's to simplify everything. And simplification for us is so important that we think it's not about technology invention. It's not about creating new technology or more technology. I think our focus is really how can we simplify technology at the level that people understand what's expected from them. Because in today's world, there is so much technology around. There's so much tools, there's so much ways of how we communicate digitally with our employees that it really takes a lot of effort from an employee perspective to really keep up and to be aware, hey, where do I go if I want X, if I want Y, how do I find my answers to my question? It's really the kind of the digital jungle of information. And our purpose is really, we want to simplify it. We want to simplify it from a user perspective. We are aware that we can't simplify everything from an admin perspective because sometimes things are just complicated. But the way we present it, the way we kind of present this information to employees should be super simple. And the question is what to present. That's different for every of our customers. But we really kind of take on the journey to the continuous simplification with the customers. And it may start with IT and it evolves towards communication, knowledge bases, events, announcements. And that's really the topic from today, right? So how can we streamline internal communication better, more structured, but also that it really kind of comes back to the employee and their improvements. And if you think about Workspace, I hope you can kind of think about 3 areas how we can help our customers. And I think really think about the first step is that access becomes simple, right? So access to applications on different devices, different times of day, different OSs should be super simple, right? So as an employee, I should not have to think about what is my device? Does this application work on my device at the current moment in the current location? That should be managed, coordinated, and it should be super simple. You have the device, you should be able to access your applications as they kind of work on that specific device location. Next step is really how can we make sure the communication is clear, right? So we communicate every single day in the company, outside with colleagues, within teams, but how do we know where to find what information and how do we know what's relevant for us? And the third element is like, how can we help people to find their answers? Because there are so many questions being asked every single day by employees. But most often, the person we tend towards with the questions is the person that's been around for the longest, right? So you know all that you all have that person has been with the company forever, that knows all the questions, knows all the answers, and every time someone has a question, they tend to go to the specific person, right? So there can be one per location, can be one for the company. We all have a specific person in mind, and that's really kind of how we think about how can we help you to find more answers and ask more questions. And if you specifically zoom into communication, we like to think about it as fragmentation in regards to communication. We think, and that's also what we see from our research, that there are just too many tools how we communicate, right? So there may be Teams, there may be internets, there may be WhatsApp channels, there may be groups. So there are different ways of how we communicate. And while it may seem logical if you've been around the company for longer, if you're new at a company, like perceive it as you start your new job, let's say on the 1st of December, how do you communicate within your company? Where do you go for X, Y, and Z? And most often, if you think about it as starting new, it's not as simple as it looks like, right? So there is no single communication structure. There are multiple ways on how to consume it. And I just that this it's a loss, it's a waste of time, focus, and energy to kind of think about where do I go. And the information we share, especially in most internets, we see that most internets are designed from a top-down perspective, where communication designs the internet. They want to communicate, which is fair, but we don't think about the user perspective, like what is the information they expect and they need. So we're really trying to twist it around. So, hey, what is the information you need rather than what do we want to communicate? And also think about what is the information you need at that specific time of day, because information has to be specific and targeted, and that is not the case at the moment. And I think the result of everything is that employees feel less connected with the organization, and especially in the working from home era, is that people feel less connected with the company anyhow. So it's really our objective to make sure people feel part of the company, feel part they belong within their role, and really know what's expected from them, regardless of their work location.
And Eric, is that then something that only communication should do, or are there maybe different kind of personas within an organization that could help to get like the perfect internet for a organization?
No, so to be honest, I think the good examples we see from our customers is really where communication is not done on an island separately. It's really where it really becomes like a digital employee experience team, where we think about, okay, how do we serve our employees? How do we make sure they get what they want? And how do we give it to them? And I think it's a mistake where we think that communication has to fix their own problems and create their own internet. We have to think about this as a holistic approach. This is how we help our employees. And that's why often we refer to the employee experience as an overarching theme rather than separation in intranets or workspaces or any other tool. And the way we like to look at, let's say, the workspace is that ultimately it should be your one place where everything comes together. And of course, it is in our favor, but I think any approach you take, if you think about the user perspective, the more you can bring together towards one platform, the easier it becomes in regards to communication and how to access and how to find your answers. So any advice, if you can build a single platform, regardless of the product choices, is always preferred because it makes things much simpler rather than put things in isolation and separation. And for today, we're really focused on 5 ways how we want to simplify communication and how we do it from a product perspective and how really this can be the next step within Workspace for you to think about. And many of you may have seen some elements of this, but I think as we evolve with Workspace as a product, we also kind of enhance the capabilities within the different elements. So that's why we like to think about different baskets, different brackets where you can put information in, and then we can really take it out from a different perspective. So I think it all starts with communication on announcements, right? So we all have top-down communication in every company. And top-down can be from, let's say, management to the whole company. It can be a manager to the company, to a specific team. It can be, that's a specific person that, hey, I want to share this news about my baby or my new house, or it can be different type of news. But it's more about I communicate with an X amount of people. And it is static to the point that the content is static and people can respond and like. But the thing about announcements is really about I share more polished information. It's not like a conversation. What happens next can be a conversation, but it's really about what do you want to share. So as an example, we share many things internally as either a video or text, and everything happens to the right category, right? So we share things on the company level, HR, product, and everything has a different category. And on every category, you can create views, right? So you can have a company category, company view. It's really about how to create a preview of everything what's relevant for you. And especially the larger a company becomes, the more important to have different categories. They can say, hey, I'm part of location A or I'm part of location B. And based on my location, I can only see the announcements that are relevant for me. Or I'm actually a category owner, so I can create announcements in that specific category. So the larger a company becomes, the more difficult internal communication becomes because it becomes fragmented. And the way we like to structure it is to have a single hub where everyone can only view what's relevant for them. And next to announcements is that many of our customers asked us in the last years is that, hey, we organize many things. And how can we share everything what we organize? And the way we now categorize is under the label of events. And then if you organize an event, either a Christmas party or let's say a training, everything could be labeled as an event, either free of charge or you have to sign up with a maximum capacity. But the event is really about showcasing with everyone within the company that something is happening, right? So you can say, hey, we have a healthcare training or we have an AI training. So every kind of training can be listed. You can say, hey, it's a remote or it's in location X. So you can really share all the different events that take place within the company. And it's really kind of a way of everyone to see where can I sign up for, but also from the organizers to see how many people are interested in joining, right? So we sometimes you have a training, say 20 people can sign up. It will only take place if we have 10, or we have 100, and only take place if 50, right? So you can set all the limitations on the events. It's really a way to share everything happening throughout the organization. And you can also kind of, as soon as you sign up, you say, yes, I attend. It will sync directly to your calendar, so you have it directly in your calendar. It's really a way to share everything throughout the organization in the thing, hey, what's happening next and what's upcoming. And the way I share it now is from kind of within the hub. So everything you see is now kind of in the creation space, right? So this is where I create. But everything what I will share on announcements, on events, or everything happening after this can also be kind of, you can create views within the workspace of the employees. Hey, this is an overview of the upcoming 10 events, or these are the events for the location of this office location, right? So we can create kind of different views on all the events, but it starts with creating a categorized view of everything what's available, and then we can create kind of the right views for every employee. And if you think about announcements, it's really about top down, right? So management or manager can communicate with the company, but there's also a lot of communication that is happening throughout the company. And sometimes you can think about it, hey, we have teams, and in teams, I can ask my colleague if he can help me with X, Y, and Z. But most often, you don't know where the expertise is, right? So you assume that your colleague knows, but maybe there is just a larger group of people interested in helping you. So communities is all about building a community within the company based upon certain interest, right? So you can say, hey, we have within Workspace internally, we have an AI community. We have a design community where we share new designs, where people can give feedback to the design team. So I don't have to give feedback to design if they share the designs, but everyone joining the community of design can view kind of the new designs of the product and give feedback. So it's really about, hey, it's open to give feedback. You don't have to. Or design says, hey, I'm looking for 3 people to actively engage with a healthcare survey. Does anyone of the CS team have a customer in mind? So it really becomes interaction about, hey, I need help with X. Can someone help me? Can someone help me to do and to achieve this? And it's really interesting to see that the communities within Versity 5, but also what we see within the customers, isn't only work related. It can also become kind of a pedal community or a bootcamp communities. Or every time we organize something, we create a community where we share photos, where we share everything afterwards. So it really becomes like a lively thing, really integrated within the workspace. And it's really beautiful to see that since we launched it the beginning of 2025, it's really taking up with our customers and how they embrace this and the things they share internally. And a few other things, apart from the 5 things I already mentioned. So many things that we see within the customers that really improves kind of internal communication is like narrowcasting or digital signage, right? So if you have any monitor within the office, you can connect the workspace to this monitor. It's really kind of show everything happening internally. You can really think about, hey, how do we pre-board newer employees? So what can we already share, like a different workspace view of everything that is expected from them to join the company? So we have many examples of kind of pre-boarding workspaces. We see customers, hey, we have volunteers that work for our company. How can we really create a portal for them to really engage with them and really share the right information for them as well? And I think one thing really appreciated by most of our customers is that we, for especially large organizations with multiple kind of identities within the same group or the same company, can really apply multiple branding. So every company can maintain their own kind of cultural identity, or let's say company identity, while still kind of being managed in a single workspace. And especially when companies grow bigger, having a dedicated way of managing different roles and different categories really helps to make Versity 5 scalable as the organization grows, right? So it's not that everything has to be done by an admin. We can say, yes, the admin is master of the workspace, but we can have sub-admins, sub-roles, where everyone say, I'm an admin of this category, so I can create announcements, I can create events, HR can do this, RT can do this, different team owners can do this. And I think really that the workspace becomes kind of a masterpiece of the organization of communication, where everything just becomes streamlined and you don't have to think about who's doing what. It's just super clear how you communicate and where you communicate. And for me, communication is also about finding information, right? So we kind of already kind of spoke about it's about communication and keep bringing the relevance. Also allow your employees to find what's relevant. And the next step for us is, okay, how can we convert the bringing information to the employees to allow them to find if they look for something. And the way I want you to think about the full potential of finding is really about integrations. Because over the last 2 years, we really kind of developed Workspace D5 into what you connect a platform, where most of our customers are now really connecting their workspace to their application landscape. That means that the workspace knows what your ERP system is, your CRM application, and all the different kind of financial apps and HR apps. So the more we are connected to your application landscape, the more we can help your employees to find what they're looking for, but also how to build answers. And it's, if in many cases, with regards to connections and integrations, start with search, right? So we can search through all the connected applications. Hey, I'm looking for customer X or client X, or let's say employee X. We can find all the related information because we are connected to the different applications. But the next step is really about how to find, to ask questions, and we can help you to find what's relevant. And the best way, I think, to compare finding, searching is to compare what's happening in the public domain in regards to Googling. Because if I Google now, within, let's say, if I Googled in 2024 or the beginning of 2025 for the adaptive workspace, you see that you kind of get an overview of everything that is being listed as someone that thinks they have something relevant to say about the adaptive workspace. And you see my Google is still listed in Dutch. But I think the adaptive workspace gives you an understanding of everything you search for. You could just get website links where you can click on, and it's up to you to do the interpretation. If I do the same Google research in 2025, I search for adaptive workspace and already get kind of a summarized view that Google with Gemini gives me kind of an AI preview of everything relevant. Of course, there is still kind of a source related to this summary, but research shows that already 70% of people that search for something get their question answered by this kind of preview. That means it's the level of clicking through a website is decreasing massively. And if you see this trend in the public domain, it is the question for us, what will this impact of the impact of this trend be for the internal workspace? And the way we like to think about this answer is that within Workspace 5, people will launch an AI assistant, and the virtual employee, as we see it, can really help you to find, summarize everything relevant for you with the same relevance as you do it within Google today on the public domain. And it's really about asking questions, either connected to the applications or connected within the workspace, like the announcements or the categories like knowledge base. It's really about ask questions, and we should be able to find it for you. And the next step is that we will also integrate it directly in the global search within Workspace 5. So if you search for something, we should be able to give you the answers based upon the different sources. And the more applications that are connected to the workspace, the better we can summarize the relevance for you, right? So it's really for us about how can we help employees to find the relevant answer to their question. So if you think about AI within Workspace 5, really, I want you to think about it so we can connect all the applications. So it's not limited because the way we build our integration framework, it's all standardized on APIs. So it's like almost like we build like a USB connection box, where if you have USB-C, you can just charge it with our platform. That's the same how we exchange data. It's really about asking questions like, hey, what's our bike plan? Or what is the day of policy? Or how do we get my tickets booked? Or how can I book a hotel? So any information that is listed in the knowledge-based database within the workspace should be kind of presented and giving you an indication of where to go. But it's not only internal information. We can also tap into the kind of the generic public AI models, also to help you to create content and to answer questions that are available in the public domain. So many companies are now thinking, hey, how do we manage either ChatGPT licenses? Do we go for Copilot? What's our decision on kind of the public AI story? And the way we want to help you with this within Workspace 5 is really build a generic AI layer with an intelligent AI layer within Workspace 5 that helps you to find everything the company knows, also to help you to find what the public domain knows. And it's our job to really kind of safeguard your policy in regards to where the data is, where the data is listed, and how much data we can store and save for future references, all isolated within your company, right? So we don't train models with information from anyone else. It's your model, it's your LLM, and your LLM is only improved by the people working within your company. And everything is done on a user authentication layer, right? So we only ask for information. For example, me, Eric, if I ask something to our AI assistant, it can only answer the questions where I have access to. or where Reinier has access to, right? So it will never impersonate or give you information that you don't have access to. The same way as we access applications, the same way as we search, the same way we do AI within Workspace 365. Yeah, so the value of an AI assistant within Workspace 365 is really giving employees reliable answers. And we now want to kind of avoid them from searching, because proactively asking questions and find the right information is so much faster. So we think we make search much smarter and proactive. And we want to tap into the organizational AI kind of domain, but also the public AI domain, because that's a combination for us that is kind of connected and should not be separated. So we want to just kind of demo you a few things. One is to kind of show different categories of the hub, as we shared about internal communication. We also want to show how kind of AI taps into this kind of whole knowledge base idea, because then you see how in kind of a filled and a really kind of properly implemented workspace can really leverage AI to really answer smarter questions. So Reinier, you want to share your screen and then switch?
Of course, of course.
Perfect.
Thank you, Eric. You can see my screen if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I can.
Perfect, perfect. And what I first want to talk you guys through about is indeed the internet. So how does it look like? And then I will also give you like the practices how you can implement it in your own workspace environment. So what you see here is a short summary of the entire internet. So a short overview of everything, and we distinguished it in a couple of elements. So indeed the announcements, communities, events, and knowledge bases. So what you see here is indeed the announcements, where you can share some information with the whole organization, even a part of the organization, or even a personal message to someone within the organization, so that we can really offer the relevance for someone within an organization. And there's even a way to also have like the interaction with each other. So you can like a post, you can follow someone, and even write a comment, also interact with that one. So you can have a really interactive internet and announcements. So indeed, also with the communication, that's also a big part of the internet. So at the moment that there's shared something within the organization, or there is a group of personal interest. So as Eric mentioned, for example, a padel group. So within Workspace 365, we have a padel group. So there's a lot of people who have the personal interest of padel, and you can join that group. And at the moment that there's something shared within that group, then it's all about padel. So that's the thing about communities. We can really have a nice interaction with each other. People are know what the personal interest of other people are within the organization, and you just see a big engagement within the organization. And I think that's such a nice thing to accomplish with the communities. Yeah, of course, the events you see here. So you can attend this to the meeting. So for example, this webinar. So you see it's an online meeting. You can attend it and add it to the calendar. So it's really easy to see what kind of events are coming up. You can also distinguish these ones in different kind of categories. So it can be that the whole organization can see this webinar. If it's a webinar, for example, for only IT, you can also put it in like an IT group. So there's a lot of possibilities to share your message wherever you want it to be. And it resonates, of course, to the announcements, the communities, the events, and the knowledge base. So indeed, in the end, we have the knowledge base, and I've made a who are we page within the knowledge base, and it's purely to have one big place where we can have every kind of important protocol or important document or anything stored in one place. So, for example, if there is a new worker, there's someone new coming within the organization, it's really easy to see what kind of things are shared within the organization, or if someone knows where he has to be when there is something new within the organization, and he really can get to know the organization by just going into the knowledge base. And as Eric talked about the AI assistant, is it really connected with the knowledge base? So I wanted to show you something about the AI assistant. So what we did is we now filled the AI assistant or the knowledge base with some things about our organization. So at the moment that I ask the GPT, hey, can you let me know what the strategy of the organization is in English, please.
I really like how some people really ask questions like, "Hey, can you help?" Like, if either being apply politeness to the AI
I
system.
really see it as a close friend, Eric.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah. So, but what you see here, it makes a summary based on what we put in the knowledge base. So it just let me know like what the strategy is, what the key pillars are. So I can really, if I'm a new person, I don't really have to take a look in the knowledge base, look for my document and stuff like that. But I can just ask the AI assistant to make it really easy to see information that I have access to. So, and it can just search everything. So the more information you give the knowledge base, the more information and the more precise information it will get you back for what you need. So that's about the AI assistant. Is there something you want to add, Eric, or?
No, so I think very important is now with AI, you show that we search through, let's say, the specific category of the knowledge base, right? So this is how we currently run the AI pilot within Versity 5 and a few of our customers. The next
Yeah.
phase is that we leverage our integration framework, so the integration builder, that we can also ask those questions connect to your CRM or your financial application. So you can ask, okay, how many invoices have we sent to this customer? Or what are the open invoices? Or what's the total amount of invoices for this customer? If you have the right rights, right? So to ask that question, you will get the answers because we will summarize this from your application, business applications. And really the next step is that you can also say, hey, I can't find this. And how can you help me to write an announcement, or can you help me to write this, and also following the company style, right? So every company has their own tone of voice. So our goal is really to help you to create in your tone of voice the right content, either to summarize, to answer to emails, to create announcement, to create company posts, and to really kind of make sure that your AI assistant becomes the virtual assistant everyone wants, right? So it should be the one that knows all the answers. It can help you to do work faster, and it should be integrated as part of your work. So our goal was really, when we launched this in February to the public beta and in full in April of next year, that everyone really sees it as their own virtual assistant. They can help them to get more work done and to simplify everything.
Good addition. It almost sounds like it's going to be really easy to do your administrative tasks.
That's the whole plan, Randy. That's the whole plan. So I think what you shared was just spot on, right? So just how to build the kind of the internet piece within Workspace 5, and how different categories really makes kind of a better understanding of where the content should be stored, and how to make previews of this, but also how to kind of create this in a list view and how to make sure this is all presented. And one thing I want to share with everyone is that, because I think if you hear things that I say, this is relevant for us, like I want to achieve this, but don't know how, we actually have a very kind of clear way of helping you to achieve this. And the way we do this is via our customer program. I will give you a few highlights on our approach, but the main goal is really to help our customers to continuously improve Workspace 5, because we think that kind of the solid workspace and an intelligent workspace is something that evolves with your organization. And that requires some work, right? So because you have to let the workspace know how your kind of company evolves to make sure we evolve with you. And we see with some of our customers that the way we do this is really about building a quarterly rhythm, that we share things from the roadmap we're working on. You share the things you are working on, you want to achieve, and together we kind of continuously improve Workspace 5 for your employees. So it's kind of continuous value creation circle, right? So it's like, hey, we want to make sure you share your work where you're working on, to help you to maximize the value of your licenses, but also to make sure you get the answers and you feel supported in the questions you might have about how to optimize Workspace 5 moving forward, and to kind of continue to simplify everything for your employees, either connecting the internet, embedding the internet, integrating more applications, but also like to be showed on search and AI, to really make this kind of a future-proof approach on how the digital workspace works for your organization. And if we do this well, it becomes like a feedback loop, right? So we onboard you, then we just kind of continue to help you to gather insight, what's working, what is viewed well, how can we help you to improve internal communication, what is working well, what is having a maximum reach, but also really to kind of improve the whole employee experience, because ultimately for us, it's not only about the workspace, it's your objective, what you want to achieve with it. Are you reaching your objective? And your objective is not our objective, right? So if we just make sure we align the goals, we understand your success metrics of such a workspace, and we can help you to achieve it. And hopefully that's kind of hand in hand and in parallel on how we see success together. Yeah, so ultimately, we just want to help you to create a digital workspace that fits the needs of your organization and to create continuous value, right? So for us, it's quite simple, because if you just improve value, things become simpler, because simplicity is the ultimate thing we want to achieve together. So if you feel like you want to set a next step, right? So you can either scan the QR code. We can also send a link of how to book such a session. In such a session, we can have an optimization call where you share how your workspace looks today. And we can kind of share some insights, some templates, which we can apply to your workspace to already improve things. But you can also share kind of, hey, I want to improve this or want to embed this. How can you help me to achieve it? And really the call for us is a way to get started and to know more about you. And also a way for you to know more about us and how we can help along the way. Yeah, so as a key takeaway, so I think as a summary, so hopefully you feel that Workspace 5 could be far more than just an application portal. If you already have to kind of embrace the hub, or let's say the internet piece of it, hopefully you get some more elements about how to improve internal communication and what else to be done and how to set up the whole permission structure to achieve more kind of, how do you say, cohesion throughout the organization. And then if we help you to continuously improve Workspace 5, it only becomes a one-off. It really becomes a platform that continues to improve, not only from an adoption perspective, but also because we share more and more functionalities. You know what's coming, you know the roadmap, and you can align your goals with our goals and definitely have more impact together. Okay, that was the first part from our end. Maybe there are any questions that come from the group that we can answer. The session is recorded, so if you have questions that pop up when you watch the recording, feel free to send them to either Ranier or myself. I have the easiest email address, which is eric@workspace5.net. You can either add me on Teams or just send me an email. You can also send them directly to Ranier at ranier.bakker@workspace5.net, or you can put them in the chat as we speak. Looks rather silent today in the chat.
In the chat, yeah. That's also what I thought. So.
Okay, so everyone, thanks for joining. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for either joining live or watch the recording, and look forward to speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye.